Alright, so first off, I am going to start with some references. I like to use references even on a fictional piece like this, because even if it's something you made up, typically having it correlate with something in the real world helps the audience relate more with the image. Before I begin the sketch, I will put a border down. I do this because it gives the final piece a polished look, and it provides boundaries for me when I create a scene. With this ship, and with most of my spaceships, I like to model them off of old 60s car designs, because I really like the retro look. For the first sketch, I am mostly just drawing however my mind takes me, adding in what looks good and figuring out the design. This is where references are super helpful. It's easy to go off and do whatever and end up with something that looks sloppy. Using references helps you then develop an eye for whatever it is you are creating. Because remember, there are a lot of better designers that have gone before you who knew what they were doing. Now that the initial sketch is finished, I will go in with ink. I like to use a brush pen because it's easier to be loose and to get interesting shapes. Really, the only thing I'm doing here is tracing what I already put down, but as I go I might notice that something needs to change or a certain point is lacking detail, and I can easily add that in now with the pen. After adding in a few lines to give the illusion of motion, I will drop the pen and darken the background lines with a pencil. Drawing the background with a pencil helps to add a nice contrast and depth between the foreground and the background, really making the image pop. Now that the inking is done, I can move on to painting. I will be rendering this piece in watercolor, and so therefore I need to build the values from dark to light. First, I will lay down a light wash, which then gradually I will begin to build up darker and darker, adding in more and more detail. Just be sure when painting backgrounds that you don't add in too much detail, or else it will begin to look 2D. I mean, even though it is 2D and it's on paper. That's fine. A friendly reminder to you all. I am an accomplished artist and make no mistakes. I would never need to add in additional shading on a spaceship off camera while I had already started painting. Just remember that. The second cliff beyond the first one is farther away from the viewer, and so this one I will paint in a more purple hue. As I get further away from the viewer, the elements become bluer and less saturated. I will use a smaller brush to just add in some additional smaller details. For the mountains in the background, I will do a simple purple gradient that fades down into a yellow color for the sand below. Now, for painting the ship itself, I will give it a light wash and then, just like the background, slowly build up the colors. To make it look like it has a reflective surface, I will add in the reflection of the twin cockpit shields. If you're wondering why the ship magically painted itself, The reason is because the camera turned off and it didn't get filmed. There wasn't really anything interesting about painting it anyway, so. Well, that concludes this interesting, intergalactic, intentionally intuitive, entirely intelligent video that I definitely did not film in my bedroom. I bid you farewell, my fellow lonely artists.